Hi, everyone. Welcome to Life on Track, the TV show and the podcast. It's all about helping you get into the driver's seat of your own life. Not my life, not Peter's life, not society's life, your own life, personally and professionally. So when you're in the driver's seat, you're not letting life drive you. Like you're letting the world acclimate to you. Kind of like the thermostat in our home, right? We turn the heat on and the home acclimates to whatever temperature we set the heat to. So whatever we're thinking about and whatever we're feeling when we emotionalize a thought, then the world can then acclimate to us. So as you guys know, this show is based on the principles in my book, Work Love, a love story, which was about bringing love into the world, specifically the workplace, and Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill's classic since 1937. I've been studying it since the 90s, and miracles start to happen. I always say miracles are normal. So let's get right into this. I'm Erin Ley, your humble host. I'm so excited to bring Peter on, and I'm going to read his bio. There you are. Yeah. Hello. Welcome to the show. I'm going to read your bio.
Thank you. Great to be here.
I don't want to leave anything out. You're amazing. All right, guys, listen to this. You're the CEO of Partner-Driven Real Estate Investing. So Peter Vekselman is a seasoned investor and has been a leader in the real estate industry for over 30 years. He has successfully done over 3,600 deals. Today, he leads a team of real estate professionals who continue to close deals across the country. Peter's passion is breaking down the barriers that hold people back from becoming real estate investors. He eliminates virtually every obstacle through partnering on deals. Peter provides 100% of the capital and brings his experience and world-class team to actively partner on closing deals. Peter has helped hundreds of new and seasoned investors. His goal is to help newcomers get their first deal done and then keep them rolling in like clockwork. I love it. Welcome to Life on Track, Peter.
Great to be here, and thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And it was a pleasure. I said this to you offline just a second ago. It was such a pleasure speaking with you over the phone. You're very personable, so you're obviously great at what you do professionally, and you're just as personable as you are professional. So my first question that I ask every expert for years, I had a radio show on Blog Talk Radio in the early 2000s, and now here is, how did you get into doing what you're doing and why?
Well, I tell you, I wish I could say here I had this unbelievable plan. Everything was diagrammed, but it wasn't. Like I'm sure so many people that ended up being where they are today. It was by accident. I actually gotten out of there in a totally unrelated business. I used to be in that franchising business. We had built merchant processing companies, franchise it to 15 states. And that's, by the way, when I learned one of my key principles of success, Erin, that I still today use, is that if you're going to enjoy something, if you're going to excel at something, you have to really, really understand that. And interestingly, I was in that business for 3 years. We made very good money. We had franchised to 15 states, and I could tell you I knew very little about the industry. I was one of those imposters in there. I got on there by accident because I happened to know the right person. And I could tell you, it don't matter how successful you get, how much money you think you're making, how much growth you think you're doing. If you really don't understand what you're doing, if you're not a subject matter expert, I could tell you the road to success will probably have an unexpected stop. And ultimately, I just stopped it myself. And so I got out of that business, was trying to figure out what to do with my life, and got into real estate totally by accident, was introduced to a book. Within 6 months, believe it or not, I don't know if I shared this with you, I had lost everything I had made before, literally lost it all because I made some very bad decisions. And within 2 months afterwards, I was living out of the backseat of my car. So I can't say I had this incredibly flawless entryway into the real estate business. But here I am later, 22 years later, still standing.
It's an amazing story. And thank you so much for being transparent, because listen, you were meant for success, and not only success. I had interviewed Frank Perdue's wife, the other day. She and I are friends, and it's not about success. It's about significance. Like what kind of significance are you bringing to the world? What kind of, legend do you want to be? And you're changing lives of people all day, every day, and I'm so glad that you found your true passion. So let's get into the reason why so many people fail in life. Your first talking point.
Well, I'll tell you, I think the reason most people fail in life is the same reason, Erin, that so many people fail in the real estate business. They don't set themselves up for success. If you think about it, like there's a couple ways for people to achieve success in life, at least how we define success. Let's say on the monetary side, there's jobs. I mean, there's some people that become very successful in their jobs and their careers. But if you think about it, in that side of the equation, a lot of things are planned out for you. Like you go work for a company, there's milestones, there's mile markers, there's reviews, there's feedback and all this. I'll tell you, I think aside from that, how else do people become successful? They try to do it themselves, right? You're gonna either follow a track record with someone, a job, and there's millions of reasons why people don't want to go in that direction. It's a reason I'm sure you didn't go in that direction. It's a reason I didn't go in that direction. But if you do happen to settle in on that, you and I both know people that are very successful in their careers and no qualms about it. But then there's that other side of the equation where people like myself, people like yourself, we do it ourselves. And when you do it ourselves, it's very hard to plan things out. Let's face it. You're not doing it from a company perspective that's been around for 30 years, that does know the milestones, that does know the mile markers, that does have people ahead of you. When you're trying to become successful yourself, most of the time, it's an uncharted, unpaved territory, at least in the way you're doing it. And so everything is trial and error. Everything is kind of like shooting from the hip. Everything is a little bit, well, based upon what I think, this is how I should do it. And when you're doing things based upon how you think, based upon no experience, based upon trial and error, I could tell you, in my opinion, that is really what ultimately leads to so few. I mean, there's a lot, but in the end, not as many as there should be people that become successful in their own right. And again, I don't care if you're talking about just whatever business you want to talk about, whatever pathway you want to talk about. Real estate, I think pretty much across the board, that's where it comes out. When you don't plan, the plans almost never work out. And I think for most people, it's the lack of planning, it's the lack of know-how, it's the lack of alignment with the right people that ultimately leads. Oh, and by the way, I think the number one reason that leads to success is a lack of alignment with the right people.
Yes.
I think, in my opinion, you could read your way to success, but you don't know who wrote the book, and you don't know if it's still relevant, and you don't know if it's going to be good in today's marketplace, and you don't know this. You could study yourself to success, but who's going to teach you? Probably the guy in college that didn't become successful, so now he's become a teacher teaching you. You know what I mean? Right. But so to me, the ultimate way to become successful is the ability to align yourself in the right field, in the right industry, in the right pathway that you want to take with people that have come in front of you, people that have come ahead of you. And literally, as the greatest people have said, you stand on the shoulders of the people that have come in front of you. And that's how you become successful.
I love it. And you're absolutely right. When I started coaching, I was working on Wall Street. My Aunt Rita was one of the first women traders on Wall Street. And in the 60s. So I was riding around in limos with my aunt until I was like 7 years old. And I had to work on Wall Street because it was so glamorous. She was a celebrity, really. She's the first woman to step up to Harry's on the square, the bar when it was all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She was the first woman. She was friends with him. So for me, Wall Street was like the end all be all, and I had to work there, and I got fully registered and Series 763, the insurance license and everything else. And it was not the same supportive culture in the 80s, the late 80s, on the mortgage-backed bond desk that my aunt experienced. I mean, it was the disrespect was atrocious, chasing me around a desk, and they'd have strippers come in, and I'd go to the bathroom and say, knock on the ladies' room, knock on the door when it's done.
Just like in the movies.
Yes, it literally was. And I don't even think the movies could do it justice. It was insane. But I ended up getting sick. I think I told you over the phone, the lymphoblastic lymphoma, a rare pediatric cancer. And before the diagnosis, I was so superficial. And to your point, I didn't know anything about the inner world or about how to create my own happiness and success. It was outer world based. They're going to tell me how pretty I am. They're going to tell me how smart I am, how successful I'll be, until I got sick. And then I went really deep, really fast with the personal development books. And when you say surround yourself with the right people, the books that I was reading in the 90s, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I'm now friends with them. I'm now hanging out with Mark Victor Hansen, Sharon Lechter. Like when you say that, well, Mark, I interviewed and I'm friendly with him through Clubhouse and over the phone. I haven't had the opportunity to actually meet with him, but Sharon Lechter, I have lunch with her, dinner with her, and I sit at the table with these guys when we go to conferences. Surrounding yourself with the right people is everything. So thank you for bringing that point up, because a lot of people don't speak about that, and it's everything. And you could bring them into your life. Okay, this is your interview, not mine. You just got me so lit up about that.
I'm learning too. Okay, so it's a two-way street.
Oh my God! All right, so your second talking point is the reason partner-driven real estate investing is unique.
Well, and this is really, I can piggyback off what we just talked about in terms of success or lack of success. The reality it is, and look, I'm a real estate investor, and I've achieved, I think, a good measure of success, but we have an abysmal success rate in our industry. It's not something that when you rise to the top of some industry that you want to share that with people. But the reality is, when you look at it as a whole, there's two things about real estate. Everybody wants to be in it, right? Everybody either wants to be in stocks or in the real estate. Yeah. But the reality is, when you really, really dig down inside of it, very, very few people become successful at it. There's some people that become very successful at it, and they tend to overshadow everything. But when you look at the rung, at the bottom end level, at the grassroots, about 3 to 5% of people ever become successful in real estate investing. And the reason for that is, again, it's something that nobody wants to talk about. But the reason for that is that it's a very unorganized industry. Okay. Unlike so many other industries who have tremendous organization, who have conveyor belts, who have systems in place, who have continuity, in real estate, none of that exists. So if I want to become a successful real estate investor, this is what my journey is going to look like. And by the way, if anyone is listening who has ever either attempted to be in the real estate or currently in real estate and finds themselves struggling, I'm going to tell you right now, Erin, they're going to relate 100% to what I'm going to share with you. But this is what a typical real estate investor's or wannabe real estate investor's journey looks like. Number one, we all know you start with education. You got to know that. I don't care what industry you're in, what field you're in, so you have to get educated. And so a typical real estate newbie or somebody that wants to move up in the food chain gets educated. And there's plenty of places to get educated. By the way, plenty of very great places to get educated. Sometimes they're called the gurus of the world. There's no shortage of very good. This is very important to understand. There is no shortage of very good training and education. So now when you have the perspective from a knowledge perspective, you then have to go take that knowledge, you have to implement it. Well, when you go implement it, you immediately leave where you learned, because they're not into the implementation side of them. None of them are. You are now going to be faced with, well, okay, I got to find a real estate deal. So I got to do some marketing. We all know that. So you're going to get on Google, you're going to see thousands of different places where you can get leads from, opportunities from, things that, people may want to sell their properties. So out of these thousands of marketing or lead gen things, you're going to try to pick one that you think is the right one. And most of the time, the one you think is the right one is the one you can afford, right? When it comes to marketing and lead gen, and the one that you may have heard about when you got educated. Then you realize, okay, now I have some leads and opportunities coming in. I got to know how to talk to these people. I'm an engineer. I've never been taught to talk to motivated sellers, or I've definitely never been taught to how to negotiate a deal, or I've never negotiated anything in my life. I'm married. I've been losing all my, battles with my wife my whole life. I'm a terrible negotiator, right? But Erin, let me tell you something. You got to learn how to do it. So now you're going to piecemeal that piece together. You're going to try to figure out, okay, where can I learn how to do some of that? Then you're going to realize, well, gosh, how do I even know I got a deal here? Well, I got to get some data points. I got to get some information. So there's no shortage of that, by the way, in real estate. There's like thousands of different apps where you can get information from. So you're going to probably Google that, and you're going to pick one that you think is the right one for you, your area, your information, for the data points you need. Then you're going to realize, wow, I'm this far in a business. Yes, I need money. I need money. So you're going to do what almost everybody does. You're going to Google for some local money sources. They're called hard money lenders in the industry. You're gonna talk to them. You're gonna have no idea that he's at the end of the deal gonna make more money than you do, because you have no idea how to borrow money the right way. You're gonna put a bunch of money down, but you got past that, and then you're gonna fall off a cliff, because you're gonna get into the ultimate money losing side of real estate investing, and that's called rehab. So if you ever done a real estate deal, you know that how you lose money is you try to fix something, because almost none of us have any experience on rehabs. God forbid a real rehab, like a 20, 50, $100,000 rehab. So, and by the way, this is how I ended up homeless in the first year of this business. I did 6 rehabs, and I lost all my money on the rehab side.
Oh my God.
All my money was taken by, because they know how to play in newbie investors. And so you're probably not even going to come out alive on that side, but you know you got to get rid of this thing that you now have. So you're going to hire a local real estate agent. You don't know how to correctly find them, screen them, evaluate them. You don't even know if you're going to get the right price. And at the end, you're luckily if you lose $10, $20, $30,000, but that's a big enough impact that chances are you'll never do another deal again. And this is the story of real estate investing. And so what we've done here, Erin, at Partner Driven, is we have solved that mystery of why nobody makes money in this real estate investing industry. Because what I do is I actually bring everything under one roof. So when I do deals, and by the way, I've done over 3,600 of them at this point, I partner with people. So when people want to get into real estate business, or people want to grow their business, or they want to get to the next levels, they connect with me, and I provide all of those tools and resources that are needed under one umbrella. We do make it a seamless process all the way through. So we coach and educate my partners. We spend money in their markets, and we generate leads for my partners in the marketplace. We provide them technology. Okay. We provide them a back office. Okay. My back office, in essence, becomes their back office. We process all the paperwork. We'll do all the inspections and make sure these are good deals. We do the contract work. We coordinate buyers, sellers, closings, you name it, we do it. And then I do the one thing that no other educator or guru will do in this industry at the national level. I provide all the capital for my partners. Put my money where my mouth is. You know what I mean? How do my partners know that what we're doing is the reality and we stand behind it? So my partners don't spend even $1 out of pocket on deals. My construction team gets into their marketplaces, helps them fix it. Our realtors across the nation who have been screened and qualified for us, put them on the market for tip-top prices. We sell them, and then the local partner keeps half, and we keep half. And so in essence, the best way to describe what I do is I solve the mystery of why nobody becomes successful as a real estate investor, because we provide all the tools and all the resources under one roof. And thus it becomes like simply an assembly belt. And when something is an assembly belt, it's done the right way. It's done in order. It's done one after the other. And what starts out as a total raw material on the front end, a potential deal is a raw deal, comes out on the back end looking like a Rolls Royce, or in our case, a successfully flipped real estate property. So that's our model. That's what we solve our Partner Driven, and that's what I do with Partner Driven.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what you do. And you've partnered with Grant Cardone. I believe you told me that you partnered with Grant, right?
I haven't partnered with Grant. I know who Grant is, but no. What I was telling you is Grant does the closest thing to what I do. He just takes your money. He's like, he knows that if he's going to tell you what to do, but it's a very smart model. Yeah. I would say for anyone that doesn't want to put the time and effort into it, I would go to someone like a Grant and give an expert your money. Because if you're going to take the same money, you're going to give it to someone like a Cardone, and you're going to try to make money on it yourself, you're going to run into the same problems I did. So I think he's got an extremely viable, very smart model, especially for those people that want to be hands-off. Okay. You know what I mean? If you want to be hands-on and make the big bucks, you got to go towards what I do, whether it's myself or someone else, or if you want to be hands-off, Cardone model, A+.
Okay. And my apologies. I don't know why I thought that, but it's just amazing what you do. And I want you to explain to people, how do you finance these deals 100%? Like nobody has to have money out of their pocket. You're financing. How do you do that? And I asked you this over the phone also. How do you do that and protect yourself from so many losses?
Well, great question. Number one, this is very important to understand. My partner is not being financed. So they're not going on a hook. I 100% go on a hook. Okay. So how do I do that? Well, what every investor does who gets to a certain level, I raise a ton of money. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I raise tremendous amount of institutional money. I raise a tremendous amount of private money. And so when deals come up, here's one thing, Erin, I've been very proud of. I have never said no to a partner because of lack of money. Never, ever, 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 ever. And with that, to extend upon that just for a minute, because it's all my capital and I'm on the hook, if something ever does go wrong, and you've been around life long enough to know, I don't care what levels you're at, things still go wrong. Last year, my partner and I lost $110,000 in a deal. I stroked the check for $110,000 at closing. My partner suffered 0 losses.
Wow.
So in those rare occurrences where even we sometimes make a mistake, and that happens, there's no liability for my partner. So in our model, aside from everything I explained, they get all the upside and they incur 0 downside of everything.
I mean, I want to partner with you.
Let's go.
I don't know how I could, but I'd love to partner with you because it sounds fun, number one. And the second thing is, I mean, if there's no loss, and you're financing it 100%, why isn't everybody running to you? Like you're financing it. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, number one, not everybody knows about it. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing with you. I mean, it's just sometimes just a knowledge, just to simply, does somebody know that it exists, or does somebody not know that it exists? And number two, I am very proud to say that we have over 6,000 people every month inquiring about wanting to join my partnership program. So I wouldn't say we're totally a kept secret, but at the same time, you're absolutely right. When people truly understand, this is why I tell people, by the way, another, I know you're very much into success principles and all this. This is another very important success principle that I have utilized in this model. There's 2 ways to win in life. I share it with people. One way is to you just try to outwork your competition. I mean, and that's how most people do it, right? What are we taught? You got to study harder. You got to get good grades. You got to be better. You got to be. But that's how we're taught, right? In school, that's what we're taught. Only there's, you got to get an A. That's the only way to do it. No one tells you fail your way to success in school. But anyway, so that's one way to do it. The other way to become successful, and this is the principle I utilize, is to create your own playing field. Because when you create your own playing field, you have no competition. Right. And this is why I'm so proud about what we do. We have no competition. When people hear the message of what I do, I might not be a household name, but it's very common sense and very logical what I do. And so again, another reason why I love to share the message with your audience and yourself, because this is just a no-brainer. For anyone that wants to be successful, anybody wants to wrap success into real estate, this is the ultimate way to do it. Absolutely right.
It's amazing. And I love what you're saying about success. And they'll never teach you how to make money in school. They groom you to be a worker bee. That's all really. I mean, I went to college, I have my bachelor's, but for all those years in school, they just literally groom you to be a worker bee. No classes on how to have your own business, or, unless you took it as like an elective.
Isn't that amazing?
It's and most people don't know what you and I are speaking about. They just don't know, just like they just don't know your model. They just don't know this huge thing that's going on in the world. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm
just saying, like, most people don't know. And I love what you said about creating your own level playing field. This is what I loved about the doctors at Sloan. I got into coaching because the doctors at Sloan couldn't explain what I did. I kept living every time they said I die. Went on to the 3 kids that they swore would never happen. So I did it for free for years, just as a give back. And I would walk patients and their families, because there were extensions, at that time in the homes. And I'd stay with them through the whole protocol. Anyway, for years I did that until my kids were spilling Cheerios all over the floor, and I'm putting them in front of Blue's Clues. And I called the doctors. I'm like, I can't keep doing it. They said, you can't stop. You're an amazing life coach. And I said, what's a life coach? I had no idea. I've just been doing it. And then anyway, that's how I started. And they told me that I shouldn't stop and I should create a business. I would be working as a speech language pathologist, possibly. I wasn't going to go back to Wall Street, but I have my undergrad in speech language pathology with a minor in psychology. I would have got a job, because I didn't know any of this. And my father's a PhD in philosophy, so everything was school, school, school. And then, you go get a job and a 401k. But I love being an entrepreneur. I love creating my own playing field. And you do this, you help people do this. This is what you do all day, every day by partnering with people. You help them create their happiness, which is in service to other people, which is another huge success principle. I truly believe the only way to feel happiness and to achieve success is to be in service of other people. When we're worried about just ourselves, it's not a happy place, but when we're in service to others. Thank you for what you do. And can you also speak into that? Like you're a massive example. And thank you again for sharing the fact that you had lost everything and you were able to build it again. Can you share with people, can you speak into how important it is to be in service, even in a small way, to be in service to others each and every day?
The best way I guess I could explain that is let me just share with you some of the things. Interestingly enough, I'd like to sit here and say, you know what, that has always been my principle. I grew up that way and my whole life has been about that, but it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't. And I accidentally swerved into it through this model. And like, for instance, before you and I jumped on, I was texting to one of my partners. His name is Jamari. Now check this out. When Jamari started with me a few years back, this is like, some people don't even going to get this, but in order for him to make ends meet, he would give blood. Like, talk about, I know I hit the bottom by becoming homeless, but like when you're giving blood for a living to like meet your basic needs of just get some food, that's where Jamari was, right? Now I can tell you this, 16 deals later with an average deal of $40,000 of profit, right? But most importantly, the growth that you take someone like that just a short time ago was living, not even paycheck to paycheck, was living a blood transfusion to a blood transfusion, right?
Jeez.
To where he is now. And if he was on here right now, he could speak on real estate. He could talk about principles of success. It's amazing. It's amazing to do that, or somebody, a lot of times when people get into real estate, life doesn't stop, right? Life, real estate doesn't just clear your ocean and, everybody appears in front of you, life still goes on. So sometimes we find ourselves, somebody gets started with us and all of a sudden something bad happens in their life, right? Like, for instance, we were sharing just a little bit earlier that another one of our partner, Ed Lindsay, when he started with us a little while ago, he got let go from his job, right? And so he was at this crossroads. Well, do I go all in on real estate or do I get another job? And, we shared a little bit. And so he's like, you know what, I'm going all in. A month and a half later, $40,000. Some months later down the road, which we are now, 4 deals done, over $40,000 in profits. He's making more now part-time doing this than he was in his full-time job. And again, I don't even know if it's service, because I hate to take credit away from my partners. It's good to be able to put people and create environments for people where they could be successful. The last thing I would do is I would never want to say, you know what, it's because of me. Because it's not because of me, because the Jamaris, the Eds, I shared with you when we talked on the phone a couple of days ago, another partner just that day texted me a picture of a private plane. I thought he just booked a private plane for himself. He's like, no, dude, I bought it because of meeting you a couple of years ago.
It's amazing.
But I can't even say that I'm the guy that did it.
Because you're humble.
They put the effort in. Put the effort in. I happen to create an atmosphere. I happen to create the environment where this is possible. But in the end, everyone that we're helping to become successful and everyone that has become successful as a result we do, I'm going to put the credit right back. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. It is so weird. And you could relate this when you're, asking a question about service. So, and I don't know if you experienced this before or if your listeners have. So I've made money 2 ways in real estate. One, for many years, I just did it myself, like an average real estate investor. I had my own employees. And now for many years, I make my money in real estate by partnering and helping other people. Man, I could tell you, it's like 2 different worlds.
Yeah.
When you know what I mean? It's still making money. And by the way, I made pretty darn good money when I was doing it myself. Right. But you're absolutely right. When you're able to provide something for someone, a leg up, an opportunity, a partnership, an alignment with myself and my team, it changes everything. Like I can't imagine going out there and doing things myself now from a business perspective.
No,
Like I literally could
no.
not imagine not bringing a bunch of people with me and to enjoy the process. And you know what? Here's the other thing. Sometimes people say, well, it's still a difficult business. That's okay. That's okay. I love watching people struggle and break barriers and get to the next levels and shine where they think they couldn't have shined before and do things that they before they would have met us, they would have been like, well, that ain't gonna happen. That's not me. I can't talk to. I've never talked to anyone I don't know. You know, I'm an engineer my whole life. I mean, it's and I know you see it in what you do. It's pretty darn cool at watching people having breakthroughs.
Yes. And I was never homeless, but after the divorce, the money wasn't, I was a stay-at-home mom making the world a better place by doing what I did. And whatever I made was just extra income. You know what I mean? It wasn't so after my ex-husband left and the kids were only 10, 11, and 15 at the time, as a single mom, I stopped everything because I had to focus on the family. My oldest, the kids were shocked. I was shocked. Everybody was shocked. Everybody was shocked. Family, friends, everybody was shocked. And my sister was diagnosed with cancer at the same time. And I became the point of contact because nobody could handle, her husband. She had 4 kids and her twin sister, my sister. I was the only one that could handle it. And so I was the point of contact. So I had to stop everything regarding business. As a life coach and business strategist, as an empowerment and success coach, if I felt so disempowered at that time, I can't be the imposter. I could never act. So I stopped. And I remember being in ShopRite and I only had $5 to my name, $5. And I bought the house 25 years ago, but cash wise, $5 in my pocket. And I was with my daughter thinking, please let this be enough for the milk and bread. Like, please, dear God, don't let me be humiliated with my daughter here. Let it be enough in the milk and bread. And it was. And I walked out of ShopRite like, I will never have that feeling again, ever. And I remember thinking he forgot who he married. And I put my nose down and I grew my business. I mean, it's compared to your figures, but I grew my business to 6 figures in a year and a half. And I hired coaches. And now I'm scaling this upcoming 12 months to 7 figures, doing what I love to do. And I could not have done it without my team. And I didn't have a team in the beginning. It was all me wearing every hat. And I couldn't figure out the technology, so because I had to hire somebody, I did. I couldn't build websites and the technology piece of it. And once I hired somebody, it took a little bit of the stress off. Then I hired somebody else and it took more of the stress off. Before you know it, I'm having so much fun these days. I keep saying I've never been happier, healthier, and wealthier in my life than I am today. But I credit my team, even my personal team, my landscaper, my cleaning lady, like everybody, because I couldn't have done it all by myself. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. And I love that expression. So thank you for sharing all of what you're sharing.
100%. 100%. Gosh, I feel like I need to be interviewing you with such an amazing story. But I do believe what you just finished with, that ultimately your success, sure, you're a big piece of it, especially in the beginning. In the beginning, we're all the only piece in of it because we can't afford anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
But ultimately, it's all about the people around you.
Totally.
It's about, and it's not just alignment with people that have gone in front of you, but the team that could be actually very horizontal to you, maybe potentially even a step behind you. That team is really what makes you successful. I am by trade a real estate investor, but I haven't seen a real estate deal in years. I haven't gone inside one of my properties in years because of this incredible team I have in front of me, beside me and around me. And the other thing about team that I'm a huge proponent of, if you ever want a lifestyle, you better have a team. You can make a lot of money working 24/7 and if that's your deal, that's nothing wrong with that. But if you ever want the lifestyle, enjoying the husbands, wives, enjoying kids, sons, daughters, enjoying family, enjoying friends, growing, traveling. If you want that lifestyle, you better know how to scale. And scale is all about developing a team. So huge believer in what you said there. Huge believer.
Yeah. Did you ever meet Jeff Hoffman? He wrote the book Scale.
No.
I met him and I was hanging out with him at an event. He founded Priceline and the kiosks in the airports. He's the founder of those. He wrote a book called Scale, and he says the same thing that you're saying. Like, in order to have a great life, you have to be able to give up the control. You have to be able to scale and give. A lot of times, entrepreneurs, they want to hold on to all the control. They want to micromanage. I don't want to micromanage. I hire people because I don't know how to do what they're doing. And I can't do it.
100%.
So let's get into your free gift. Not your free gift, your training. Let's talk about your training. Tell us about the training.
Well, I mean, training is partner driven, so for those that are interested in learning more about my model, there's two ways to connect. One, I know you have a link up, and just go there, and we'll connect with myself or my team, and we'll figure out if we're a good fit for each other. And then if we are, it's, there's no wasting time with myself or my team. We're going to be putting deals together immediately. If you want to just learn more about me, you could follow me on social media. Like, you can go to Instagram or something like that. You can go to Instagram.com/my name, Peter Vekselman. Instagram, it's Instagram.com/Peter Vekselman.
Okay.
Yep. So, and that's a good way to learn about me. You could also just click, follow me, click the link in my bio there, and we'll connect. So it's easy to connect with me. I'm everywhere, and I love talking to people, meeting people, aligning myself with people. But most importantly, if somebody wants to get in a real estate business, or they want to scale their existing real estate business, I want to talk to them. I want to connect.
I love it. I love it. And it would have taken me about 10 minutes to type the Instagram thing.
That's okay. Just tell them, put Instagram.com/Peter Vekselman. There you go.
Yes. And it'll be in the show notes. With regards to, is that your website? That's the website I went to for you, Peter Vekselman.
Yeah, but it's the best way to connect with me. It's either go to that link you put up, and you'll connect with my team about what it means to be one of my partners. If you want to learn more about me and kind of how I do things and what I do, just simply go to Instagram.com/Peter Vekselman and follow me. Click the link there. It's another way to connect with me.
I love it. You're so good. I'm so glad that Andrea connected us. You are so good. And I started going on Instagram because of Clubhouse. When Clubhouse first came out, I was addicted to Clubhouse, and I was on Clubhouse with the Australians at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't get enough of it because it was connection, right? After the pandemic, we were able to talk real time with real people, and I couldn't get enough of it. But that's when I started. You had to have Instagram. So I went from Facebook and LinkedIn to Instagram, and Instagram has grown tremendously since then.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Peter, for everything that you're doing. And this will be on Apple TV and Roku and Amazon Fire and, like the big ones, my social network. And I have a new YouTube channel too. So it'll be there as well.
Well, make sure to give me a link.
I will. And I'll send you, the promotional material and all that kind of fun stuff. So thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for being you. You're a blessing in the world. You are a shining light, and we need more people like you. Making the world a better place. And with the recession and the pandemic and everything else, you give hope to, it's an abundant world. Focus on the abundance, focus on what's right with our lives, focus on what's right with the world, because there's still tons of money to be made out there. If you listen to the world, to them, you think the sky was falling and there was nothing, but there's plenty of everything. So thank you for being you.
I enjoy it.
Everybody, Peter Vekselman, what an amazing man. Brilliant, absolute amazing man. So thank you for joining us here today. Hit the subscribe on the YouTube channel, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Always remember to live onward and upward. Love you.